The Edo State House of Assembly Ad hoc Committee don continue their public hearing on the investigation wey dey go on top the Museum of West African Art (MOWAA) and the Radisson Blu Hotel project. During the session, the former Accountant General Julius Anelu reveal say Edo State government release about ₦3.8 billion for the MOWAA project. E still yarn say the $18 million wey dem talk say MOWAA raise no enter Edo State treasury at all. E say even though government release ₦3.8 billion, no evidence show say the $18 million wey MOWAA raise reach government hand.
Now, like every other request that comes to treasury, these matters are usually initiated in the process from an MD, Ministry, Department, and agencies of government to the treasury. Now, the first matter that came to the treasury was dated 7th of March 2022. That matter came from the Ministry of Arts, Culture, and Tourism. Now, Ministry of Art, Culture, and Tourism. That matter was for 800 million. Two other matters came in the year 2022. Another came on the 14th of December 2022 for 300 million. That matter came from the Ministry of Finance. And then on the 2nd of December 2022, we received another voucher of 700 million from the Ministry of Art, Culture, and Tourism. So the total of 1.8 billion was paid. 2023, on the 15th of December, we received another voucher from the Ministry of Agriculture and Tourism for 1 billion, which was paid. The last voucher came on the 6th, on the 11th of June 2024. That voucher was for 1 billion, came from the Ministry of Agriculture and Tourism. So the total money that was paid, like I mentioned earlier, was 3 billion, 800 million. Thank you, Mr. Now, I tell that in this instance, implementing MDA was Ministry of Agriculture and Tourism. Every documentation concerning this Ministry of Arts, Culture, and Tourism. Ministry of Art, Culture, and Tourism. Every documentation concerning this project will always find in the file and the Thank you, Chair.
Said that the state government paid the counterpart funding of 3.8 billion. Counterpart funding. So how much do you get for the other? Of course, the counterpart funding, the other also based on
the practice, as we know, is that the counterpart fund is meant to activate expected, funds from donor agencies and relevant stakeholders. But to our knowledge, the matter that came was a request for payment, and that is the extent to which the treasury was involved.
So there were no receipts of any money involved.
No, sir.
The treasury of the state government.
MOU were explained, signed by the then General that MOWAA raised in excess of $18 million. Are you aware of that?
No.
Thank you.
The first payment, first request was that the Edo State government should assist MOWAA with some 800 million naira. You will listen.
Yes, sir.
And upon the payment of that 800 million naira, the foreign partners or foreign investors, as they put it, having seen that Edo State is committed to supporting MOWAA, will now release funds for the advancement of the objectives of MOWAA. As you can see, Accountant General, the Edo State government made that 800 million available? First question would be, the 800 million that originated simply via a letter from MOWAA. Was that sum appropriated for by the Edo State House of Assembly in that year's appropriation law before that money was given to MOWAA?
The information we have in the Treasury is what was gained from the vouchers submitted to Treasury. Like I mentioned earlier, the documentations are usually processed by the implementing agencies. They initiate.
This question, let me rephrase them.
And so, our responsibility is to interrogate the voucher and ensure that they were processed to Treasury in line with the process. These payments that were affected, all the vouchers, they have a reserve initial budget, which shows that they are operated for. Yes, that's it.
You have not answered the question. It's simple. I'm not talking about release voucher. It's a simple question I'm answering. Was the money appropriated for? Was it a part of the appropriation law of that year?
Yes, sir, it was appropriated for.
The 800 million
Yes.
have no knowledge of the payment of the sum $18 million by foreign investors towards the MOWAA project.
That fund did not come to the Edo State Treasury. The voucher that came to Treasury only spoke to the request. Every other documentation that has to do with what is being expected was not mentioned in the voucher. In fact, I promise you, if you look at the approving memo for the 800 million, what you will find is that the MOWAA project, as at that time, was supposed to cost 4.1 billion. And then, after the 800 has been released, the subsequent request, you will find that in the documentation, they stated that the 4.1 has now increased to 6.4. Now, the subsequent request was occasioned by escalating costs due to the devaluation of the naira. That's how it was stated. So we speak the documents that are before us. So when requests are made to the Treasury, we only have access to the voucher and the documentations. The only time we send vouchers back to the NDAs is when we notice that there are infractions.
So the final question, sir. If you take a look at all the requests that were made to the Edo State government, the letters requesting funds from MOWAA, which subsequently led to the government paying all these monies towards the MOWAA project. Does it surprise you that every request comes along with a so-called pay us this money and the foreign partners will pay. Pay us this next one, the foreign partners will pay. Pay us this one, the foreign partners will pay. Over a period of about 3 years, and like you rightly observed, all you kept getting were requests for money, but there wasn't a single request that was ever followed with based upon the last commitment of the Edo State government. We have received XYZ now from the foreign partners. Everything was just request. There was no statement as to receipt of any funds. Is that correct?
We did observe in Treasury that the first 3 vouchers that came to us was in favor of legacy restoration trust. And the 4th and the 5th voucher, landed at changed to MOWAA, and it was so stated. see, in the narration that you state MOWAA, what you are finding is MOWAA. So this documentation that you speak of, and what was being expected by the state, we know that counterpart fund is a commitment to drive, additional funds. But none of these funds came to the treasury.
What we have received and what we paid out. You are the chief financial officer. So that's why I asked you just. You have told us now you paid 3.8 million. You are aware of that. And you are not aware of any other income coming to Edo State, like grant or whatever coming to the treasury. None of them that you are aware. So, if there was ever such money, is this supposed to come to the treasury?
I will respond with instances. For example, you had mentioned earlier that the vaccine project was discussed. The state clearly wanted to capital market. We knew at the treasury that we were expecting funds. The funds may have gone to the trustees, but the treasury had information. We knew the inflows, but no attachment projections. But in this case, with respect to MOWAA, the only information that came to the treasury was the vouchers requesting for funds, requesting for counterpart funds, which were validly approved.
We can safely say that what you know about the MOWAA was expenditure.
Yes.
Nothing about income.
Was the counterpart fund released by the state government?
Yeah, the state paid counterpart fund, expecting money to come. But there's nothing of your own knowledge to show that money ever came. I will say this is so.
In truth, if Treasury has the understanding that funds are being expected to come to the Treasury, we will request for it. We will request. If you interrogate the trust voucher of 800 and the second one, you will find a narration that
No, we're not blaming you. Just simple question. Nobody is blaming you.
so we are not aware.
What they are saying, did you receive any
No,
money?
we did not receive any
You
flow.
know, we have information that they paid $18 million. We get converted to 27 billion naira. Did you receive any
That money
money?
did not come to the Treasury.
Thank you very much.
Representative from the Benin Royal Palace, Prince Aghatise Erediauwa, for his presentation, talks say former Governor Obaseki promised 500 million for the construction of the Benin Royal Museum, where them intend to use keep historic Benin artifacts for 2018. He come talk say, but this promise, Obaseki no later fulfill am. Prince Aghatise still allege say Obaseki and one Philip Iheanacho pass the palace back go create one legacy restoration trust to take raise money for MOWAA using Oba name as one of the pioneers. He still talk say the governor mislead the Oba Radisson to believe say they represent the Oba for the project.
The memo is to bring to the knowledge of this committee what transpired vis-a-vis this LRT, their contraption, and how every intention of the Benin Royal Museum was steered away from the original intention. I'm aware, Mr. Chairman, that many presentations have been made to you before now. It is therefore not my intention to repeat what we have already said. Rather, I shall limit myself to the encounters which I had with Obaseki and his group on matters concerning Benin artifacts. I will give examples of the strenuous efforts which Obaseki made to hijack the process of the repatriation of the artifacts. The long and short of it, Mr. Chairman and members, was that Obaseki had two objectives in mind. One was to appropriate control of the artifacts, while the other was to make a money-spinning venture out of the restitution process. Let me say briefly of Asaki's introduction to the realism. It is no longer secret that the concept of the Mineral Museum to house repatriated artifacts was conceived long before Obaseki became governor of Edo State. Now, in his 2018 budget address to this distinguished house, the then governor had included a sum of 500 million naira as seed money, a lot of money there, as seed money for the construction of the Mineral Museum. Now, after their meeting of 5th to 7th July 2019, which was hosted by Obaseki in Benin, the Benin Dialogue Group issued a press statement wherein the governor was quoted as saying that there will be built in Benin a Benin Royal Museum to house repatriated Benin artifacts. Mr. Chairman, to this memo is attached an appendix 1. This appendix is the excerpt of the meeting of Benin Dialogue Group that held from 5th to 7th July 2019. Reference can be made to that later. Now, unfortunately, sometime after this meeting, Obaseki and his group, especially one in Otie Obebo and Philip Yanacho, began working behind the scenes to change the narrative and steer the process away from its original conception, that is, the Mineral Museum. Mr. Chairman, please permit me to state at this juncture that whatever I say in this memo is from first-hand knowledge. I am not reporting third party. I was very much involved in all of this, as will be seen in due course. Aghatise Erediauwa was very, very instrumental in schooling Obaseki about the potentials in artifacts. Oba Ewaure for many years had been affiliated with the Goethe Institute of Nigeria. That is the German Cultural Center in Lagos. He was an advisor. Incidentally, as we all know, Germany was holding the largest collection of many artifacts in its various museums. So it was not a hard sell for Oba Ewaure, given that Obaseki himself was an art collector of sorts and a non-avaricious and positive human being. I can defend my statements, Mr. Chairman. When the then representative of the palace to the Benin Dialogue Group stopped rendering reports of his interaction with the EDHA, His Majesty began to ask questions. The representative, Professor Gregory Aghatise, a maternal relation of Obaseki and father-in-law of this Aghatise Erediauwa, who himself, incidentally, that Aghatise Erediauwa was himself the special advisor to Obaseki on culture at the time. Now, Professor Aghatise eventually declined to attend further meetings of the Benin Dialogue Group. Mr. Chairman, if you wish, I can explain what the Benin Dialogue Group is or was, if it is necessary. If not, I can proceed.
I think we know what.
Thank you very much. Thank you, sir. So, Professor Aghatise stopped attending these meetings when His Majesty was asking him questions, because he was not reporting back. At a point point, he declined to attend the meetings any longer. So as his replacement, His Majesty appointed my humble self to represent the palace in activities of the Benin Dialogue. Now I'll speak briefly on the first meeting I attended in London, the meeting of the Benin Dialogue. At the time of this meeting, Mr. Chairman, in October 2021, Obaseki and his cohorts had already begun to take steps to commandeer the restitution process. In October 2020, they had issued a notice of meeting to hold on the 22nd of October 2020 about Benin Royal Museum. This invitation was sent to select guests. I have attached a copy of that invitation and it's marked attachment 2. This invitation was issued by and with the authority of Obaseki. And the reference was to Benin Royal Museum. Curiously, another invitation card was issued about the same time to discuss the Royal Museum and Art Institute of West Africa. This other invitation is also attached. This is labeled attachment 3. The venue of the meeting, as we now know, all these meetings were being held in the residence of Philip EDHA at the time. By the time Obaseki and EDHA had operated their private company called Legacy Restoration Trust, this group has started soliciting for funds abroad, all in the name of the Oba Ewaure, whom they deceitfully claimed they were collaborating with. I was asked this several times about myself. So like I said, Mr. Chairman, this is not hearsay. They are bogus claim of collaborating with the Oba. Obaseki ingeniously enticed into their fold the eldest son of the Oba. Of course, Obaseki's idea was to project the illusion that the Oba had sent his son as His Majesty's representative in their contraption. Indeed, up until recently, many people in Nigeria and abroad asked me if the Oba approved the son to be the representative of the palace in this whole Obaseki saga. This was because they saw his name, according to them, they saw his name as one of the directors of Legacy Restoration Trust and also later in MOWAA. They said they also saw him in social media with Obaseki in Berlin. And if so, why does the palace still seem to deny involvement with LRT? Unknown to these people, prior to that, Obaseki had attempted to get His Majesty to sign over custody of Benin artifacts to LRT. As we all know, the Oba bought this. In order to set the record straight, His Majesty then held a world press conference, which incidentally was the first and only one to date when he unequivocally disowned this LRT and any association with them. Indeed, when a German delegation visited the Oba in the palace, His Majesty warned them again that he had nothing to do with Obaseki and his group. The Oba's statement to the delegation is attachment 4, Mr. Chairman, to this memo. Now back to the BDG meeting in London. The Oba had sent an address to the group, which I read on the Oba's behalf. The address again warned members of the Benin Dialogue Group of the treachery of Obaseki and how he had betrayed the original idea of the Benin Royal Museum. Obaseki himself was present at this meeting and was seated when I read the Oba's address. Surprisingly, when it was Obaseki's turn to speak, he did not controvert any of the assertions in the Oba's address. I actually expected him to say something to the contrary. His only statement was to say, and I quote here, sir, the Benin Royal Museum will be built, end quote. After that meeting, during lunch, many members of the Benin Dialogue met me, and in our discussion, many of them said, when this whole Benin Dialogue started, the narrative was about Benin Royal Museum, that they were surprised to now be hearing of Legacy Restoration Trust. They didn't know how and when Benin Royal Museum got changed to Legacy Restoration Trust. I'll continue, sir. Some events in Cambridge and Aberdeen. I'll be very brief on this because here we have the start, well, not really let me say the current, the beginning of current repatriation of works to Nigeria. This was in Jesus University. Again, I represented His Majesty at that meeting. This was when the university returned the bronze cockerel. Mr. Chairman, we all know the story around that cockerel. I will not go into it because it was an international issue. Because it was the first time an artifact was being returned. Well, I'll try and be brief for this. So we received that cockerel. It was not just that it was a single cockerel, a single piece of bronze, but it had a lot of mileage. And then after that, the University of Aberdeen handed over another bronze figure that they had in their possession. In each case, they had written to the Oba of Benin, Your Majesty, we have this work which we want to return to you. And that was why they were handed over to me on behalf of His Majesty. The Nigerian High Commissioner to the UK happened to be present. I could not carry these things. So I handed them over to him and I told him to please help arrange by diplomatic bag to get these things to Nigeria, which Ambassador Shola did. When these things got to Nigeria, naturally he reported to the President. The President instructed him to take a presidential jet and fly to Benin and deliver those things directly to the Oba. These are all documents. In Aberdeen, Mr. Chairman, I met Barnaby Philip, the author, who wrote the famous book, Loot. That was the first time I met him. And in our discussion, one of the things he asked me, he said, Prince, are you aware that this LRT group is going around soliciting for funds? I said, I'm not aware, I'm not part of them. He said, are you aware that they say they are working with the Oba of Benin? That's when I told him. I said, I can tell you that, so I can say that. They are not working with the Oba of Benin. Categorically, because it is not possible for me not to be aware of such a thing. You were in London, I told him, because he was not in London, he was in Aberdeen. The Aberdeen meeting was 2 days after London. And I told him, I said, in London, I just debunked these are spurious claims. So they had already started canvassing and raising money and telling the whole of Europe they are collaborating with the Oba. Some events happened later at the Smithsonian Institute in Washington, D.C. is to highlight the nefarious activities of some individuals at the time. The then Minister of Arts and Culture, Lai Mohammed, was not very forthright in his dealings concerning the matter. So also was the Director General of NCMM at the time. In the case of Aghatise Erediauwa, who was DG of NCMM, before he got enveloped by the LRT people, he was always in the palace. He was always coming to the palace and seeking advice, seeking permission to do different things. And sometimes he would ask for written authorization. Initially, the LRT were contesting with him outside. He approached the Oba and said he needed a written authorization from the palace to say that he was authorized to discuss and negotiate the return of the artifact, because LRT were troubling him. But you know, the chairman, unfortunately, later they successfully bought him up. The same thing with Lai Mohammed. They now became the ones that were now fighting the palace and defending LRT. And Tijani himself told me on one occasion that Prince Obaseki is spending a lot of money. Obaseki is spending a lot of money. The money is not, he's not spending money where we are, he's not spending money in those states. If he's making you rich, it's good for you. The truth will come out one day. At that time, we were no more on the same page with Tijani. I was in London again at the Honeyman Museum, where the museum was to return some objects, hand over ownership, not physical returns at the time. And when I got to London, I was in company of very, very notable personalities from Benin. I got there and I was shocked to see Obaseki. So I asked him, what are you doing here? Are you still running after these artifacts? He said he was only there as governor of Edo State. So, Mr. I was not really taken by that. So I asked him, I said, you are governor of Edo State. We have a lot of things here. Why are you not in Edo State? Governor, you are here running artifacts that you have denied that you say you are not after artifacts. A lot happened after that because he went around the right. In fact, just some people, I will say it openly, that if you come and warn me, said I embarrassed him in London, I don't only ask questions. Like I said, Mr. Chairman, I'm speaking from personal knowledge. Now, what now transpired after this that changed the whole scenario? Issued the official gazette vesting ownership of all artifacts in the above. It was at that point that Obaseki and his group found out that they were fighting a losing battle. Philip Ehenacho came to see me. I'm told the MOWAA he came to see me and he was appealing to me. He came to my office in Abuja. He was appealing to me. I said, I don't understand what exactly you want. So after all of this, how are you going to, how do you expect this to make any sense? You have taken our hospital and demolished it. You have appropriated the land. You don't care whether people have anywhere to treat themselves. People are dying. And you are coming to make me malnourished to tell me how can we repair this? After all this you have been doing, you have collected money and everything. After the gazette, you are coming to tell me how can we repair this? So I told him never to come speak with me. Mr. Chairman, by the way, I know them personally. I know EDHA and Oba personally, over 30 years. Because I was in the Nigerian Stock Exchange, they are capital markets participants. And I was a regulator, I used to regulate them. I know them very well. In 2023, Mr. Chairman, I was in Hamburg at a meeting of the EDHA group. I'm almost done with my presentation, Mr. Chairman, but let me just make this point. At the Hamburg meeting, I saw EDHA at the meeting. So I asked Barbara Clark-Steiner. I will come to her later. I said, why is Philip EDHA in this meeting? The Benin Dialogue Group is about Benin bronzes. Philip EDHA is about a different group, Legacy Restoration Trust. At that time, they have started denying that they were after the bronzes. What is he doing here? If he's going to sit here, I'm not going to sit in this meeting because it will be like we're in one meeting together. After that meeting, there was supposed to be a panel discussion where it was in a big auditorium. I knew it was going to be filled up because I wanted to know the venue of that panel discussion. So one of the Germans, as we were going out, opened the room. So I said, are you sure this big or what for? He said, no, the place will be filled up tomorrow. Because a lot of people are interested in this matter in Germany. Many people they don't believe in this Legacy Restoration Trust. They were divided. So, at the time of the meeting, this Barbara now came and said, please, can we go to her office briefly? Before the panel meeting. The meeting was supposed to be in the evening, so this was in the morning. And she said, do I have? She said, how can Philip EDHA, because there was a panel, I was one of the speakers, and Philip EDHA was supposed to be a speaker. So she said, how can Philip EDHA be accommodated in the panel? So I said to her, I'm not the one that is convening, you are the convener. It's up to you, I don't know how you are, it's up to you. Why are you asking me questions? Arrange your panel session as you want. She said, okay. By the time we came in the afternoon for the panel session, they had removed Philip EDHA from the panel. They removed him, removed all reference and everything. But I knew why they did that, because Barbara did not want me to speak openly about the treachery going on. Because the German audience there will be more enlightened. So anyway, that happened in Hamburg. A recent event, October 2025, the German ambassador to Nigeria had written a letter to His Majesty seeking audience because of the way they had been behaving. The Oba said he was not going to receive her. He said, instead, I should meet with her. So we arranged a meeting when I was being in Abuja. And we had this meeting at the Hilton. And I told her again, I said, they were misled, they were misguided, they were deceived into parting with all the money they said they parted with. She was telling me a lot of money. I said, I don't know where the money went to. But I can assure you that money is not in Benin. Because that kind of money is in Benin, we see developmental activities. And I asked her, a country like Germany, would you not have conducted proper due diligence before parting such amounts of money? Because it was appealing to me. I should please understand that it's their taxpayers' money. The point I'm making, Mr. Chairman, the Germans have been warned for a very long time, and they decided to ignore this money. That is why I believe a lot of people have been investigated. It should not be only people in Nigeria. These governments that claim they donated money should also investigate some of them. It is not only in Nigeria that we say corruption. I do not believe some of these people can exonerate themselves. But it is perhaps for them to investigate. Now, the Benin dialogue, as we speak, I think for all intents and purposes does not exist anymore. Because I told them I have discussed with His Majesty and I have his permission to withdraw the palace from the Benin dialogue. To date, no meeting of that group has held, and I think the group has gone into. In conclusion, Mr. Chairman, the events of the last few weeks in Benin around the so-called MOWAA have thrown up interesting and incriminating questions. I am sure that this honorable committee has gathered sufficient information to uncover the truth about MOWAA. The so-called donors must not point accusing fingers at the people of Benin. Rather, the various donors should conduct a thorough investigation into their own attitude and behavior towards the people and royal court of Benin. They should hold only themselves to blame for allowing themselves to be deceived and donations obtained from them. Many individuals have to be investigated, and those found culpable should be prosecuted. Apart from the obvious principal characters in this monumental scam, Mr. Chairman, people like Professor Aghatise Erediauwa in Nigeria and Barbara Steiner. I like to pronounce her name very well because of so much interaction I have with her. In Germany, should be called to account for their roles and motivation for convincing German and other donors to fall prey to scavengers. In spite of warning from so many quarters, including the warning His Royal Majesty gave to the German delegation that visited him at the outset of this whole artifact saga. On that occasion, His Majesty cautioned the German delegation that Obaseki was not in collaboration with the police. Mr. Chairman, distinguished members, please permit me once again to express my profound appreciation for the opportunity you have given me today to share my experiences with Obaseki, which I have actually arranged because of time.
The chairman of the committee, Honorable Aghatise Erediauwa, come announce say the committee received one letter from Olayiwola Afolabi SAN, wey be MOWAA legal representative. For the letter, dem tok say dem respectfully decline to come do verbal presentation for the hearing because the matter dey court already. In response to that, the committee chairman come yarn say the House of Assembly gets constitutional power to investigate any project wey state fund, and no court fit collect that power from legislature. E still tok say na MOWAA choose the date for the hearing, but still dem no still show face.
Before we bring this committee sitting to a formal close, that we received a letter today from the learned Silk Oba Ewaure SAN, representing MOWAA, and basically I'd like to announce for the benefit of those here present and indeed the general public at large, that this is more or less a letter in which MOWAA has respectfully declined to make a formal verbal presentation in respect of whatever might be their rights or entitlements with regard to the MOWAA project. I also would like to say openly, in response to this letter, I'd like to give a very short response, which I had earlier given to the learned senior advocate when he was with us on Friday. On top, thank you very much. And that is to say, firstly, the Edo State House of Assembly and the Edo State government are not involved in any litigation in any courts in the Federal Republic of Nigeria with regard to the issue of MOWAA. Secondly, I would like to restate that the originating summons from the Federal High Court, which MOWAA, through their lawyer, SAN, presented to this committee, does not have either the Edo State House of Assembly or the Edo State government as parties to the suit. Therefore, it is crystal clear that that suit has absolutely nothing to do with the sitting of this committee, and the mere existence of a suit filed just about 1 week before this committee started sitting is of no moment and actually close to no issue. I would also like to add, and I had said this to the learned Silk when he was here, that the powers of Parliament to look into any matter for which funds have been appropriated, monies that belong to the good people of Edo State, that power is sacrosanct and cannot be taken away from us by any court sitting anywhere in the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Having said that, I would like to bring it to the attention here present, and indeed to the attention of the world, that by a letter dated the 11th of November 2025, signed by Osa Apata, whose designation is the head of External Affairs and Special Projects, MOWAA. MOWAA actually unilaterally picked last week Thursday as the date convenient for them to appear and state their side of the story. And the Edo State House of Assembly, in our desire to do justice to all sides, even without confirming from other parties, the palace and other distinguished invitees, agreed with MOWAA and picked the date fixed by MOWAA themselves for the commencement of this public hearing. And you can then imagine our shock and our dismay that the very organization that fixed the date on which we started hearing was nowhere to be found. They did that via this letter dated 11th November 2025. However, I stated earlier that MOWAA did not come to give a verbal presentation. However, MOWAA has given a written presentation to the committee. Therefore, this committee hereby formally adopts as the presentation of MOWAA in these matters the written documents forwarded to us voluntarily, willingly, without coercion by MOWAA, stating their own side of the story. That document or those set of documents will form MOWAA's response to the matters in contention. And this committee so holds as a piece of paper which it was written. You have quoted here a suit number, no parties, no court, no judge. You were sent by an individual who obviously has no regard for Parliament and obviously has zero knowledge of what constitutionalism is. It is, and this is very unfortunate, the guilty room when no one is chasing them. Go and tell whoever it is brought up this tissue paper in the name of an apology that the Edo State House of Assembly, to the exclusion of all others, has the power to look into any matter which the money of the good people of Edo State has been spent on. And make no mistake, I have the authority of Mr. Chairman of this committee to tell you that HIMC, Tiobori, haven't been properly served by the House on 2 separate occasions and refused to appear. The Edo State House of Assembly shall invoke the powers of warrant of arrest where necessary and compel, whether they like it or not, parties who are supposed to come and account for monies belonging to the people of Edo State and are roaming head-to-head and hiding under the shadows. If the need arises, I have the authority of Mr. Chairman to tell you the needful will be done and they will be dragged here whether they like it or not. Now, you, excuse us.
The committee no waste time as they dive enter the continuous hearing of the Radisson Blu project. The committee review documents wey concern bidding and contract award process, and the contract wey dem award pass 15 billion. For the advance payment wey be 60%, dem say Edo State government release 9.4 billion naira on the 6th of September 2023 as the cost consultant confirm. The project manager come tok say na their firm be the main contractor, while other subcontractors wey dey involved for the project na government appoint dem, so dem no get any direct dealings with dem.
We submitted the proposal on the 19th of June 2023. Then after that, we get the award later from Edo State on the 18th July 2023. So after that, totally up to 8.
Hello, please just take it quietly and maybe you use the audio so that the properly understand what you're saying. We hear and understand.
Sorry. On the 17th of May 2023. Then the submission of proposal to Edo State was on 19th of June 2023. Then the award of contract of construction of the Edo State Radisson Hotel was approved on the 18th of July 2023. Then the acceptance of award of letter by Samuel Aghatise was on the 28th of August 2023. Then the issuer of APG, that's the amount of guarantee.
For example, was the contract sum?
It's 15.4 billion naira.
That was in July.
Yes. That is the figure. Actually, what is here is, according to the award of contract, it says the negotiation tender price for the execution of the work is 15 billion 397 million 368,022 naira 49 kobo. Then, including the VAT, now add the VAT of 1 billion 158 million 802,601.68. On 6th of September 2023, and the amount is 9 billion 238,000 million, 9 billion 238 million 420,813 5 kobo, 50 kobo. That is the 60% of the advance from the computer contract. DAA Architect Certificate number 1 on the same date, which is 6th of September 2023, the same advance payment. Next, contract agreements of those states, Radisson Hotel and Samuel Nigeria Limited, was made on the 4th of October 2023. And was sent on email by Mr. Oba Ewaure, head of projects in those states. Advance received by Samuel was on the 13th of October 2023, and the amount received was 8,618,211.81 kobo. Request for foreign exchange fluctuation was made thereafter on the 27th of October 2023, and it was sent by Vivek Cowley, finance head, sent by Vivek Cowley, finance head to Mrs. Aghatise Erediauwa, Honorable Commissioner of the State Exchange rates, with an exchange rate of $1,323 per naira per dollar. 1,323 naira per dollar. Yes, I said 27th of October 2023. Approval of forex fluctuation on the 4th of April 2024, signed by Mrs. Aghatise Erediauwa, Honorable Commissioner of Edo State, with the sum of 6,716,908,107. Receipts of forex fluctuation 1 was on the 4th of July 2024. 4th of July 2024. And the receipt amount was 2,226,008,667 naira 83 kobo, at an exchange rate of 1,570 naira per dollar. Receipt of forex fluctuation number 2 on the 30th of July 2024. The receipt amount was 2,461,395,348 kobo, with the exchange rate of 1,617 naira per dollar. Last one, receipt of forex fluctuation number 3 on the 24th of September 2024, and the receipt amount was 2,029,504,090 naira and 33 kobo, with an exchange rate of 1,688 naira per kobo per dollar. So now we break down of
Is the empty.
Not everything. Project manager.
And broda on it. All these other subcontractors, are you people paying them? Like this man and more, are you people paying them? Or they are different contractors?
No, sir. Actually, what happens, we are a general contractor. We are main contractor. After that, directly from Edo State, HVAC work directly supplied to the man, like that all paneling and window work. They are nominated contractors from the government.
You nominated them.
No. It's not government.
The government nominated them.
Yes, sir.
So what is your own job in Radisson Hotel?
We are doing the civil work. Civil, electrical, and mechanical part. In that mechanical part, we are doing that plumbing, firefighting work, and electrical.
So your contract was 15.4 billion.
Yes, sir.
15.4 billion.
Yes, sir.
So when was it now reviewed?
So if you check when we are awarded that contract, as per contract there is a per dollar rate is a 750 naira per dollar. When that fluctuation is due to the devaluation of naira,
It's trying to say that as at when they approve the contract, the dollar rate it was 750 naira. So that was why they would have requested for a fluctuation of naira. So they approved that. I read it 6 points, something billion. Check, I read it 6 point something. So total contract as at then, after you add 6 points, something to the 15.397, right? So now coming 22. 114,276. Sorry, let me tell you. 22 billion, 114 million, 276,129.49. The award contribution for the nation is
So on your total payments so far, the total money you have received so far now is 60.4 billion.
yes.
60.4 billion. So what is the percentage of that amount in your total contract sum? What is the percentage of it?
So they're not done. The billion is not the actual amount, contract amount, which is the mechanical, electrical, and the firefighting. So we now add and subtract. Note they subtracted the amount that they provided for that 50 billion. They now subtracted and then make our contract of mechanical and electrical and all, which is also here.
How much is it?
So how much is it? So your movement from 15 to 22. Movement from 15 to 22 was a regime.
Yeah, for just dollar fluctuation.
For dollar fluctuation.
Yes.
Dollar fluctuation.
Yes, for 50.
And that 15, you have the provisions inside.
For mechanical electrical.
It was inside.
Yes.
For inside the 15,
Yes, sir.
you reviewed it to 22.
Not now, because of that, everything that we did, it was just dollar fluctuation.
For what now? For the contract
So
sum.
the contract of the
And the contract sum had the provisions.
yes, of this,
So if you have the provisions inside, so why were you not making another quote for it? Your mechanic, the figure for mechanical.
And what is the total contract sum?
as per the last valuation, total contract sum is 29 billion.
Million.
Billion.
Okay, 29 billion.
739 billion. 3,914 crore.
How much have you received in total?
We have received 20 billion. 20 billion. 495 billion. 721,158.
All these monies you have received from where? Who paid you?
See our other record.
You have your
Million 615 was paid by River Jameson SPP. The next one, evaluation 2. Did you have this one?
Yes.
We have that. The total here is 16.4.
Yes, paid by River Jameson SPP. While the HIMC paid 3 billion 709 million 506,254 naira 36 kobo.
Sorry, my last.
Sorry.
Where is it?
As in bank.
All these statements were one proof of payment. We want to see evidence of Aghatise.
Was the money paid into Aghatise account this morning?
We need statements.
Okay, hold on, man. You need to be just take it easy. HMIC paid you around 3.something billion. Around 3.
That's what I say. 3.7 billion.
Yes.
709 million.
Yeah.
506. But the amount released, but not everything I've paid.
Hold on first. 3 billion, 709 million, 806,000.
284, there are 26 kobo.
26 kobo.
Yes, that's the amount that
Yeah, I said IMC paid this one.
Yeah, but not.
Hold on first, where was this one paid? You have it, I don't have it.
Valuation is 7.
You read it.
No, that's what
About the same Radisson hotel complex that we inspected on Friday. Are you? Hold on. Before you came to the Radisson hotel to start working, it was already built. Am I correct? Hello? I need you to understand where I'm coming from. Radisson Hotel, when it was bought by the Edo State government, we bought a complete hotel. You did not build from foundation, did you? Edo State bought a 170 room hotel standing. Am I correct? Hello, please talk. Okay, so you didn't build the hotel. The contracts for the aluminum, the air conditioning and ventilation was not executed by you. Am I correct? One and more, the Edo State government gave them the ventilation and AC, which is HVAC. Ace Packers took charge of all the aluminum we are seeing there. Am I correct? I am also aware that the 21st century and other contractors includes even the kitchen equipment, everything has already been paid for by the Edo State government to other contractors. Am I correct? Am I correct? Yes, sir. Good. So, your 16 billion naira was spent on what?
16.
No, the 1 year. No.
29.
Oh, this 16 billion now. When we went there, sorry,
we are talking of cash receipt.
now, when we did the inspection, you were there.
Yes, sir.
I remember you. We are talking about 16 billion naira. If my memory serves me correctly, in terms of work done, in which case what you people have done, Shakoji, is just to try and put in partitions between the existing work. In fact, let me also remind you met that complex with an existing Olympic-sized swimming pool. Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
Because you reduced the swimming pool to a smaller size.
Yes, sir.
You didn't build the swimming pool.
Yes, sir.
I need you to tell this committee what you see. to. No tax, no rules finished, nothing. Like nothing. No reception, no meeting room finished. The only jobs on ground, apart from, of course, say wiring, breaking in lights, that's fine. But the only thing we could see, correct me if I'm wrong, what MOWAA did, what is Fagat did, those monies were not for you. You didn't pay them, did you? Can you please tell this committee? Maybe you took us to a different hotel. What did you spend 16 billion on? That is there. That
60 billion is not small. Let's are telling us that there is another Radisson hotel somewhere. You are doing 2 Radisson or 3 Radisson hotels at the same time. What you spend 60 billion, this is the only one. Let us know. By what? Highlights. What you spend that 60 billion for. That will actually
Okay. When you enter from that area, there is no concrete before. That's what we have done.
There's no
Concrete.
concrete wall.
So I am coming from the gate, so I can take.
the gates.
Yes. I will take you on with it. Just allow me to.
Which concrete now? Is it the floor?
Concrete floor.
That's the floor. Okay, you can concrete the floor. So you did the concrete floor, right? Okay. What else?
Okay, sir. Now that we get, if you wait on the antique entrance, that area we have all the road. Around this swimming pool, there is no concrete, you can see, where we take tanks.
Sorry?
Where we take around this swimming pool, there is no concrete at all. We make the concrete. And after we does the tank, if you are seeing that also. And for first to third floor, we are ready to complete it. Only we have no support now.
You are laying or you are laid.
No, we are ready to it. It's completed.
From where? First floor to the last.
First floor to the third floor.
To the third floor.
All tiling, bathroom.
You have done the tiling for the first, second, and third floor.
Which one? The hotel we went for another hotel. Which type?
So that is same hotel where you wait. I don't know if you could observe or not.
Did you show us any times on the floor?
Because you cannot take those state money, you know, like boss by the company. And those state are not money. This is not money that is just there. This is money that is borrowed. We will pay this money till 2030. This money will pay till 2030. Are you going to finish your pay 2030? You were giving you 15 months to finish the hotel. 15 months. To ensure that there's progress, you were giving 8 billion to start off. Because you always look down on Nigerians, you enter the platform, this was ever like tell you that what you see, you take it. Wednesday. Do it for one night. We want just everything to come here on Wednesday. We don't want a representative. If it doesn't come that day, we should have been one to arrest him.
Standard contract procedure. When you are taking tender documents, we give you tender drawings, and then the tender results. So what you come in
Was this one formally application?
yes, it was.
So where's the paper?
Put the approval. Your email approval.
You don't have it.
I don't have it.
So what did you come and do? We stopped at this point the last.
This document is an approval. This document is first of all, and you have the document. So you have that.
No, not your own
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Because
Not your proposal.
yes, sir.
You are trying to make a review. You
Yes.
write to the person that gave you the contract.
Yes, sir.
For this reason and this reason, I think my job will be varied from this point to this point.
Yes, sir.
Then you will get a formal
Yes,
approval.
we have to approve this document. This document comes from
It's not this, it's not from my state government.
no, that's wrong. If the state government employ cost consultants for the project. So anytime you have variations, so I consultants are into it. They approve it.
So government or consultants or consultants.
The government consultants, they approve it.
That's not what I said.
Government. It's not contract with what everywhere. Everywhere. Not just in this.
The consultant will determine your variation for you. As a
No,
contractor.
no. How it works is variation, then we need for variation. Sometimes you come from Radisson, come from anybody. Any,
What we saw from our record was supposed to be something like
that's what
oh, listen, you brought all this problem.
Swallow the money and
Use
decide.
the money for something. They are telling us price fluctuation. Who will not pay for your negligence?
it's not negligence. There was
It's negligence.
the dollar as at when the plan was awarded was different from the dollar price as at when we were
If
paid.
you had done the bulk purchase, you were
We did
supposed
one purchase
to
as at when we were supposed to do
You
it.
did not.
Evidence when we did.
You did not.
We did.
You keep saying you have evidence, but every time you come here empty.
We did one purchase.
So far, dem don approve 29.7 billion for the hotel project, but na only 20 billion dem don disburse. Dem present detailed breakdown of how dem take allocate and spend the funds, and e show say Edo State government buy one 170-room standing hotel structure, and wey na just renovation work dem only do. But the committee members still dey ask contractors to explain wetin dem exactly use 16 billion naira do, as dem demand more transparency and accountability for how the project take dey executed. On top the matter of selling 80% of the shares of the hotel to one private company for 10 billion naira, wey be money wey no even enter state account, even after the state don spend over 20 billion naira, the House Committee blame permanent secretary of the Ministry of Finance and others wey dey involved for selling Edo State property, as dem promise say justice go dey served.
Because we were aware that those state hotels the board to raise money from capital and the sum of 17.5 million naira was raised. That money went was it not paid to the state government?
In truth, the Edo State government approached capital markets for one issue. The target was 25 million because it was subscribed. What was realized was approximately 16 billion. Now, the nature of one administration is such that it's usually handled by trustees. But all the information were shared with the treasury. And these monies were subsequently expended through the treasury. The way it was administered was such that the Ministry of Finance was implementing NDA, so the documents were processed at the treasury, and treasury in turn processed the trustees. And payments were expected in favor of the relevant contractors. That information was not shared with the treasury.
It was not shared with the treasury.
Just like the one we discussed earlier and MOWAA, it was also not shared with the treasury. So we don't have it on our records that 10 billion, give me those.
So we can practically say that we don't have a record to show that there's any 10 billion. Thank you very much.
Just to add, the essence of the so-called 10 billion itself was because the project might end up facing completion risk.
All the documentation, the memos were initiated from Ministry of Finance. Ministry of Finance has the responsibility of driving this project, ensuring that the certificates are necessarily issued. What treasury gets are requests for payments.
I'm sorry, I will have to cut you short. Please forgive me. So the question then will go to you, Pastor. And it goes to you in all seriousness because you were also the way the program
state, I was surprised that the architects are not here. They are supposed to be here. The state contracted them to do the work of monitoring the project and reporting on the extent of work done. So whenever we have, look at the work done, they always, make their own certification, work certificate. And don't also forget, as I said last meeting, there was somebody who was head of project, SA project, who was reporting on that project directly to the government. Oba, I'm surprised it's nowhere to be found out. So once that is done, the report is sent to the ministry and the memo is written to the government. And once approval is given, depending on the size of the work done, if it's above the governor's approval limit, we used to be 200 million, then the thing goes to ESCOM, who gives final approval. And once that is done, the voucher is raised and processed to treasury. And the treasury forwards into the custodians or the bond trustees. Because the way bond market work is that such monies raised are never increased with the government because they want to monitor if what is being used for is the intended purpose.
You signed for a party.
A party to the agreement. Check.
The secretary to the state government signed. You signed on behalf of a party to the agreement.
Because Ministry of Finance Incorporated is under Ministry of Finance, PS of Ministry of Finance.
When you are aware of what you were signing, before you signed, were you not aware that you were signing a document that said that 10 billion naira purportedly to be paid to a disability? Hold on. 10 billion naira, instead of being paid to the Edo State government account, they should take the money and go and give to some people with briefcase in Lagos State. Is that not what you signed?
That is not the case.
This is my escrow agreement.
The escrow account is the same people who manage the money raised from the bond.
Here is where you are making a mistake, which was why I told you honorable and I'm not to complain. Let's not start with it. Pursuant and subject to the terms of the share subscription agreement, again, signed down. The investor has committed to pay the purchase price, the 10 million, into an escrow account. Domiciled with the escrow agents, Meristem and Emerging Capital. To ensure, remember, this is not bond money, this is our money, this is not bond market. To ensure that the purchase price is utilized for the sole purpose of completing the project. Now, this is the man who is buying our shares, Mr. Chairman, telling us what we do with our own money. The funds credited to the escrow account, this is E, by the investor shall be maintained in the escrow account from where payments shall be made for expenses related to the project. Again, plus F, this is the most damaging one. The investor, Tibu, whoever they call themselves, and the Edo State parties, that is you, have agreed to irrevocably appoint the escrow agent to hold the purchase price in escrow and make payments on their behalf towards the project in accordance with the conditions of this agreement. And I ask you again, how could you have signed something like this
when I came, because of the fact that I represent the Ministry of Finance as a permanent secretary, all the other people signed, the SFG signed, witnessed that by the permanent secretary. I have no option as a loyal servant.
Your loyalty was not to the people of Edo State. Your loyalty as a loyal servant of who?
Of the state government.
Of the state government. Yes. To the detriment of the people of Edo State.
The decision
is your loyalty not supposed to be to the people of Edo State?
The decision taken
is your loyalty not supposed to be to the people of Edo State?
The decision taken at ESCO is the highest approving body in the state. It's just like in the House of Assembly, you have the POC. Then the POC.
You are a permanent secretary. Also, you are a permanent. We don't take us very well.
No,
as a permanent secretary, let me ask you a question. Can ESCO, the State Executive Council, by meeting with themselves in ESCO, appropriate money or spend money not appropriated by the Edo State House of Assembly? Can ESCO do that? You are a permanent secretary.
Whether they can appropriate.
Can ESCO spend money not appropriated by the Edo State House of Assembly?
They cannot, but in this
They
case,
cannot.
but in this case,
there is no
Like I was saying earlier, for the fundamental points, we want the next emerging committee that has been dealing with on behalf of this state. You so you were not dealing with them.
how?
You were just signing.
Like what?
You were just signing.
By JBC, were you not?
Okay, you don't know about this.
You were just signing and signing and signing and signing.
Hold on, yes. You are still the service of those children. I hope you know that.
I know.
You are still the service of those stakeholders. So, it is not time to try to sneak it out. It is time for you to even act like a government witness, for you to have a lesser punishment. That is the situation you put yourself. Now, trying to be defending what you know, you cannot defend. I'm just talking to you now. And I think you should take it like that. It's an advice for you. This emerging capital and everything, they were organizations, people had a friendly relationship. Let me use the word. You cannot tell me now that you don't know them. You don't know them.
No, they were already there before I was doing this.
When they now made you PS, when you were dealing with what you don't know, you didn't want to ask who are those people.
I had a commissioner there. I had a
Emerging capital, Medicine, and the person that says it's Tipo, the NGO. Because they are taking principal places within as far as this our investigation is concerned. If Tipo is saying anyone show Edo State people the evidence of the law, they should bring the evidence to Edo State for Edo State to see. Not go to the right hand and show me, bring it. So if one of those people spend our money, the one they raised on our behalf, should also come and tell us the money we God deserves plenty. I think with that, we are got to the final conclusion of this matter. So if you know a better way to reach them, let us know. Reach our secretary and tell them, because we have seen them different ways and they have acknowledged it, but they have refused. I will be the last person to even advise the government of the day to spend any money on those projects for them until we get to the root of this matter.
Make una no forget, say, as we see am, na so we dey talk am. We no dey take blame. Or he me or no see more. TMC News.